What's going on, everybody? Kalipus Tech here, coming back at you with another video. In this video, I'm going to be giving you some tips and tricks for the OnePlus Nord N300 5G to help you make the most of the camera features. Now, as always, in case you end up wanting to learn more about this phone, definitely check out the description, where I will be linking to several other videos about it, as well as some information about pricing, availability, and some of my favorite smartphone accessories. But with that being said, let's get right into it. So first things first, I'm going to show you a quick way to get to your camera. Now, opening the camera on the home screen is easy enough, but if you're doing something else on your phone, like maybe you're browsing the web for example, there is a more convenient way to do it. So keep in mind, no matter what you're doing on your phone, if you ever want to quickly open your camera, all you have to do is double press the power key like this, and it's going to open right up. So we're on Google Chrome right now, going to try that one more time. There we go. And one last time, and this time I'm actually going to lock the display. And there we go. So as you can see, real fast and convenient, definitely a nice feature to have. Now I'm going to show you how to change your aspect ratio. Now by default, like pretty much any smartphone, the OnePlus Nord N300 5G's camera has an aspect ratio of 4:3, or of course 3:4 if you're in landscape. But if you ever want to change it, go to these dots right here. And under aspect ratio, you have the option between 4:3, 1:1, 16:9, or full, which in the case of this phone is going to be 20:9. Now I'm going to show you a quicker way to zoom in. Now unfortunately with the OnePlus Nord N300 5G, we're not getting an ultra wide camera or a macro camera, but with this phone the zoom is actually surprisingly good. So if you ever want to zoom in really quickly, of course you can just pinch like this like pretty much any other phone. But a real quick way to get to 2x is simply by hitting this button right here. And as you can see, it zooms right in. So definitely a nice convenient feature there. And I also do want to point out here that although again, unfortunately this phone doesn't have a macro camera, not only is the digital zoom we're getting here pretty good for stuff like long distance photos, but you can also get some decent close-up detailed images too. So luckily, even without a macro camera, we can still kind of get that effect. Now I'm going to show you how to customize the quick access bar. Now that's going to be this bar right here. As you can see, we got night mode, video, photo, which these two can't be changed. But then we also got portrait and the more tab that of course has everything else. So if you ever want to customize it, like say you use pro mode a lot, but maybe you don't ever use night mode, in that case, what you're going to do is hit this pencil icon right here. And now you can drag and drop whatever modes you want. So we're going to press and hold on pro mode, drag it onto the bar, and there we go. And then night mode, we can take that out. There we go. When you're done, hit done. And as you can see, Pro mode is now in here, and night mode is now in the more section. Now I'm going to show you a couple different things you can do with the volume keys. Now by default, they're basically going to be like physical shutter buttons. So volume up is going to take a picture, and so is volume down. But we do have a couple different options here. So if you go up to the dots, from here, go to settings. Then from here, go to shooting methods. Then from here, go to where it says volume button action. So right here. And as you can see, by default, it is basically going to be like a shutter button, but you can also have it control the actual volume. So if you're maybe listening to music while you're taking pictures, or you can have it zoom. So we're going to do zoom. Now if we go back, volume up is going to zoom in, and volume down is going to zoom out. Now I'm going to show you how to take a super high quality photo. Now in case you don't know, despite having a 48 megapixel camera, when you're taking photos in normal photo mode, you're not actually using the camera's full power. But that being said, if you want to get a really high quality photo, you always can. To do this, it's actually really simple. Go up here to where the 48 megapixel thing is kind of crossed out, tap on this icon. And now you are going to be in 48 megapixel mode. And a couple things to keep in mind here. First of all, when you're in this mode, you can only use the 4:3 aspect ratio. And second of all, while the photo quality in this mode is going to be quite a bit higher, the pictures are going to take up a bit more space. So if you're going to be using this mode a lot, I definitely recommend using a micro SD card. Now in addition to the 48 megapixel mode, there also is a separate camera mode. So if you go to more, go to extra HD, this is also going to be a much higher quality photo. Now, to be perfectly honest, I don't really know the difference between the two, but regardless, it's pretty much the same idea. These modes will give you much higher quality photos, but at the same time, the photos will take up a bit more space. Now I'm going to show you a feature called tap to capture. This is specifically useful for stuff like selfies, for example, where you're taking pictures with one hand and it might be really hard or maybe even impossible to reach the shutter button. So to activate this feature, go to settings. From here, go to shooting methods. And then from here, turn on tap to capture. Now if we go back, if you tap anywhere on the screen, it's going to activate the shutter. So definitely a cool feature, and if you're taking a selfie or something where you're at more of an awkward angle, it definitely will come in handy. Now I'm going to show you a feature called Quick Launch. Now this is probably going to seem identical to the first shortcut I showed you in the very beginning, and it kind of is, but it's a different button and it's specifically meant for whatever reason for when the display is off. Now I'm not really sure why OnePlus included so many different ways to get to the camera, but I'm definitely not complaining because of course, having more options is always a good thing. So to turn on Quick Launch, what you're going to do is go to Settings. From here, go to where it says Quick Launch. So right here, toggle it on. Now I'm going to turn the display off. Double press either volume key, and the camera is going to open up. So while it's definitely not the most incredible, useful feature out there, again, I definitely do think it's nice to have so many different ways to open the camera. The next thing I'm going to show you is how to change the video resolution. So for this, you will need to be in video mode. And up here where it says 1080p, this is the max resolution, so unfortunately no 4K or anything. But if you maybe aren't too concerned about the video quality, but you want a smaller file size so you can save space, simply tap on this icon, and you can record in 720p instead. In addition to this, if you still do want to record in 1080p, but you still want a smaller file size, what you can do is go to Settings, and then from here, turn on High Efficiency Video. This is basically going to change the video format, so instead of an MP4, videos are going to be recorded in HEVC files instead, and these files are a bit smaller. But keep in mind, despite saving a lot of space, HEVC files might not be compatible with everything, and while I personally use them all the time and I have yet to have any issues, just keep in mind, if you're using videos for more of a specific purpose, there is a chance it might not work. And finally, the last thing I'm going to show you is how to turn on the grid lines. This is definitely a useful feature if you're trying to line something up on your camera. For this, all you have to do is go to Settings. From here, go to Grid and Guides. And all the options for the grid are going to be right here. But this concludes my camera tips and tricks video for the OnePlus Nord N300 5G. In general, despite not having maybe a ton of different camera features, I do think for the most part this phone does take really good photos. And if you're regularly taking pictures for stuff like Instagram, for example, for that kind of use, I do think the camera setup we're getting here will definitely get the job done. Now once again, if you do end up wanting to learn more about this phone, definitely check out the description where we'll be linking to several other videos about it, as well as some information about pricing, availability, and some of my favorite smartphone accessories. But that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it and found it useful, be sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to follow Kalipis Tech on Twitter and Instagram. And as always, I will see you in the next video.